Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome to my April book haul. This month I have quite a few books. I have read a decent amount of them, so I'm pretty proud of that, and a lot of them are review copies as well. If you haven't watched one of my book hauls before, I do go through all of my review copies first and then I go through things that I have purchased for myself. In April I received 3 books from Scholastic. One of them was 200 Minutes of Mystery by Jack Heath. This is a middle grade book that features 10 short stories that each take about 20 minutes to read, and each story has a countdown as kids try and get their way out of some sort of deadly mysteries. I have read and reviewed this already, so you can check on my channel for that. Also from Scholastic, I had The Gentle Genius of Trees by Philip Bunting. Philip Bunting is one of my favourite kids book authors, and you're going to see why in a minute because I have some more books by him that I actually bought. The Gentle Genius of Trees is a children's non-fiction picture book all about how trees are important for the environment and how we can learn a lot of lessons from them. It's also gorgeously illustrated. And then the final book from Scholastic that I received was Move That Mountain by Kate and Joel Temple. This book is a story that can be read front to back and back to front, and each time it tells a different story, and this time they've written about how even very small people can make big differences if they work together. Then I received 5 books from Allen and Unwin. 3 of them I requested, 2 were unsolicited. One of the books that I requested was Way of the Argosi by Sebastian de Castell. This is a prequel to the Spellslinger series, which I really enjoyed. I still need to finish the last book in that series. And it follows Farius, who is a character that pops up throughout the Spellslinger series and is amazing. I also have Take Me Home by Carly Lane. This is her latest book. I haven't read it yet. It is coming out in the first week of May, and I'm very excited to read this. I don't even know what it's about. I just wanted to read it. Her books are my comfort reads because they're rural romances, they're very sweet, and I always enjoy them. I also requested Made for Each Other, and this book is a children's non-fiction picture book about the symbiotic relationship between flora and fauna, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It follows all sorts of different animals and plants and how they work together to live their lives. It is illustrated by Georgina Taylor and written by Joanna McKinney. I just absolutely adored this one. And then the 2 unsolicited books that I received included The Other Side of Perfect by Mariko Turk, and this is about a young teen who has dreamed her entire life of becoming a professional ballet dancer, and then an accident happens and she shatters her leg and that dream is gone. And that's all I know about it, so I'm very eager to pick this one up and see what it's all about. And then I also have Shackleton's Endurance, an Antarctic survival story by Joanna, I'm going to butcher this last name, Grotchowicz, I think. And so this, I think, is a non-fiction story about that trip across the Antarctic, and I love anything set in Antarctica, so this one I will probably have to read because it's totally up my alley. Alright, moving into the things that I've purchased, I'll go through kids, middle grade and young adult books first, and then into my adult books. I did acquire 2 more picture books. Wild About Mums by Philip Bunting. As I said, I have another Philip Bunting book, and this is a book that is all about different types of animal mums and how they look after their young, and it is so gorgeous. I mean, just look at the otter. Oh my goodness. And also The Wonderful Wisdom of Ants by Philip Bunting, which again, this is in line with The Gentle Genius of Trees in that it talks about how we can learn lots of things from ants. I think on the back it says, the answers to life's biggest questions can be found in the smallest places once you're ready to look. I can't wait to read these. I actually haven't read them. I've flicked through them in the bookstore, but I only just got them last night, so I haven't had a chance to actually read them, so I'm really looking forward to that this weekend. I also picked up The Outlaws, Scarlett and Browne by Jonathan Stroud. I don't know anything about this book except that it's written by Jonathan Stroud, who wrote Lockwood & Co., which is one of my favourite middle grade young adult-ish horror series, and I can't wait to read this one and see if he can just sweep me up into another adventure just like he did with the first series. And then because I am a fan of Skullduggery Pleasant, I picked up Dead or Alive, which is the latest book in the series. I'm still behind. I need to read last year's book, but now that I have both, maybe what I can do is just read them back to back and then I'll be all caught up. And then there was also the short story Apocalypse Kings, so I grabbed that one as well. Moving into my adult titles, I have Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is a Greek mythology retelling. I believe it's more fantasy-ish, but it is a Greek myth retelling. So I'm very excited about this. I remember hearing about it way back when it was even talked about being written, and then I saw it in the store and the cover is just stunning. And then as a member of Katie Roberts' Patreon, I received 2 books. So there is My Dad's Best Friend, which is signed and personalised to me, and also Heir, which is the second book in the Vampire series and has also been signed and personalised. I also bought myself a copy of The Messenger by Jessica Gaziella because I absolutely love the series, but this was my favourite book so far, although I may need to buy a copy of The Cleaner because I read that recently and I just loved it. But Kai was definitely my favourite hero so far up to this point, and so I bought his book. And this is a bit of an unrequited love story, as Kai has been in love with the office manager for years and years, and she nearly marries someone else until something happens, and then they have to work together, and he finally gets a chance to make his move, which is a great story. I also bought a copy of Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. This is a contemporary romance story. Sally Thorne is an Australian author, so I am continuing to support her. This one also happens to be a signed copy. I bought myself a physical copy of Act Your Age, Eve Browne by Talia Hibbert because I loved this book so much. It was my favourite of the 3 books in the series. This one is about Eve Browne, who sort of hasn't settled down and found what it is that she wants to do with her life, and her parents are finally getting really frustrated with her and give her an ultimatum that she needs to figure out her life. On her journey to do just that, she meets Jacob, who runs a bed and breakfast, and she accidentally runs him over and ends up having to help him out at the bed and breakfast. And it is their relationship. It features a black heroine, it features neurodiverse characters, it is absolutely gorgeous, it is very funny, and I adored it. And then the last book that I purchased in April was The Intimacy Experiment by Rosie Danan, because I could not have this on my shelf. Rosie Danan wrote The Roommate, which I loved, but this one is probably one of my favourite reads for the entire month. It follows Naomi Grant, who used to star in porn films and has now started up a sex-positive education online business, and she's trying to branch out into teaching in physical spaces, and she finds that it's a little bit harder to do and to get people to take her seriously in person than it is online. And then she meets Ethan, who is a rabbi who is trying to breathe life into his synagogue. And the two end up coming up with a series of lectures on intimacy, or modern intimacy, and working quite closely together. And it's their relationship, and it is just gorgeous. I cannot recommend this one highly enough. So those are all the books that I acquired in April. As I said, I've read a lot of them. Some of them I have still yet to read, but that's okay. In the comments, let me know if you have read any of these books or if you're planning on reading them. I would love to know what you have acquired in April, but if you just want to let me know that you're here rather than leaving an actual comment, let's find a turtle emoji, just like from Second First Impressions. I hope that wherever you're in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.